Ladies and gentlemen, lemon, waffle, potatoes, bananas, whatever else sits there in front of a stool. In front of a stool or on a stool? On a stool. Or even on a chair, or even on a bench, or even in a bed watching my videos. Who knows? There are multiple ways, places, things, and other such methods to view such content as this on the internet, as you well know, living in such a modern day society. But with such introductions out of the way, let's go for the battle here, which we got, which is a black-white battle, because I don't really have any black-white 2, as I've said multiple times before, but you know, it's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you have to delve back into the backlog, and such is the case today. So, Gliscor versus Virizion in Paradise. That's all I'm going to say, because I actually, for a long time, never really suspected Virizions to be special. I always thought they were physical for a long time. I don't know why I always just had this inclination that all Virizions were physical, but back then I certainly did. But, you know, there came a point where I was like, okay, I know that Virizions can just mix it up sometimes, be special and calm mind or whatever. So predicting the HPIs go into my Wobbuffet, which turns out to be a pretty nice play because it allows me to potentially mirror coat any special attack that he so wishes to go for. He, in fact, decides to go for the Calm Mind, which I didn't guess was gonna happen. I thought I would just like try and mirror coat a Giga Drain or some kind of shenanigans like that. In fact, tries to Calm Mind twice, which is gonna be his undoing, his downfall, as it were. If you've seen that film, Downfall, it's the film from which all the Hitler gets angry about this is taken from. That one scene where Hitler gets angry and it's subtitled. It's from the film Downfall. A bit of trivia for you there, in case you were wondering. Anyway, enough about that. Go straight into Terraxorus, who at this point is very free to set up a Swords Dance. Reason being is that he is locked into the Calm Mind, and he should probably be switching, because Terraxorus a giant threat, and you don't really want to be just staying in against it when it can potentially set up in your face. It's exactly what I do. I set up a Swords Dance. I'm thinking, why isn't he switching? I guess a little bit of theory that I have is that some people think that when you get encored, you have to stay in. I know this was common in 4th gen. There were some people who thought that if you got encored, it was like being trapped in there and you had to go. I don't know why it's a thing that people think, but it's completely untrue because it does not happen at all, ever. Never does that happen. You can switch out on an encore, so I don't really know. Maybe that was the reason he decided to do that, or maybe he just wanted to sack Virizion because he knew he could bring Sizzle straight in, go for a banded bullet punch, and pretty much take me straight out. So I am going to, obviously, not wanting to take that, even though I have the +2 to back me up. I'm going to go straight into Wobbuffet, which easily sponges the first one, should be able to counter him on the second one, and judging by the amount of damage I took from that, should be a huge HP number that he is receiving on the opposite end, and such is the case as counter, just like, wow, I love it. It's one of those moves which is just so satisfying, because you know, as long as a move has done a significant amount of damage to you, that it is a clean KO. It's so clean. There's something so crisp and delicious about getting off a counter. It's like, I don't know, it's like a fresh winter's morning and the crunch of snow under your foot. It's a nice comparison, I would say. But anyway, he brings in this thing, which I expect perhaps to try and set up on me. If not, then just go straight out for a crunch. I decided to encore regardless. And the reason being is that I, of course, have Terraxorus, who tends to be a very nice switch-in for this Wobbuffet. Wobbuffet and Terraxorus seem to make a good pairing, especially when you have dark moves targeting Wobbuffet. So the thing that I do here, go straight into Terraxorus, he's locked into the crunch. The crunch is obviously going to give me my justified boost, and, you know, I resist it, so I'm not going to take much damage from it. Allows me to set up a substitute here as he switches, as opposed to Swords Dancing. I thought that subbing would be a more appropriate play, just because I have +1 to my name at this point, so it makes more sense to get behind some protective shielding, and then to smack stuff in the face with close combats, because Swords Dance isn't really required just yet, anyway, as far as I can see. So, bringing the Polytoad, and I'm thinking +1. As long as he's not a defensive one, this should be able to clean it out. And unfortunately for me, he is a defensive Polytoad. Makes sense, I guess. Most Polytoads want to stay alive as long as possible, and physically defensive seems to be a popular set, or at least back then when I had this match, it definitely was, and probably still is now, because it's just Polytoad, and you want it to stay alive for as long as you can. Unfortunately for me, this probably could have ended up being a much easier game, but he has a Perish Song on his Polytoad. Parasong is brutal in the fact that I'm not going to be able to sweep his entire team with a Terrakion behind a sub with +1. I have a time on my name at this point. Only 2 turns remain for me to try and do some damage to the rest of his dudes, and unfortunately for me, he actually has a Tentacruel with Protect, which basically just... it screws me over. It means that I cannot stay in on this turn. If I do, I'm going to die, and he's probably going to double protect anyway, because that's the best thing that he can really do, and it allows his Tentacruel to just buffer the Terrakion, and with a combination of the Politoed being sacrificed and Tentacruel using protect, it basically means I have to go and switch straight into Vaporeon, which is exactly what happens. Go into this thing, and I'm just going to go straight out for a wish and hopefully get it passed to something useful to maybe heal some HP in the future. But as you can see, he brings in his Haxorus, and this is a little bit scary, because Dragon Dance is obviously a brutal move which raises the speed and attack to such an ascending level. Ascending? Yes, that's great words there. To make Haxorus seem like a deadly evil monster. I go for the Scald, hoping for the burn, and thankfully I get it. Unfortunately, he has a Lumberry, which works out okay-ish. The fact that I get the burn really helps a little bit, because it means that when he outrages, he won't be able to do as much ridiculous damage. But then he Swords Dances. He Dragon Dances, then Swords Dance. And bear in mind, I had never seen Dragon Dance, Swords Dance Haxorus at this point. And I was thinking, really? That people do that? Apparently, people do that. And apparently, it's fucking scary, because this thing is now at +3 on the offensive end, and it is a +1 with its speed, allowing it essentially to say, screw you, Resistance, Magnezone, screw you very much, I'm just gonna come in here and one-hit KO you with an Outrage, oh dear lord, and now I feel like I am wrecked. Wobbuffet had to die as Death Fodder, Magnezone has just straight up died, I have a Gliscor, one of the most defensively most defensively prowess, maybe, Pokemon in the entire OU metagame, and he is +3. Outrage, I die in one hit, so it looks like I'm going to be swept by Haxorus. But ladies and gentlemen, there is of course Confusion Hacks, and has Confusion Hacks ever worked in my favour before? Yes, in this case it shall. In this case, it actually does work in my favour. Haxorus hits itself in Confusion, allowing Vaporeon to not see whether it could potentially live. I'm not sure if it even would have done. I think I'm actually running max defense on this thing, so I don't know. When a Gliscor can't live, that's when you should be getting scared. But regardless, at least he hits himself in Confusion, so we don't find out, and essentially means at this point that Vaporeon should be able to clean up, because this Scrafty, as much as it would like to Dragon Dance and Drain Punch and all that nonsense, Scalds with Burn eventually will happen. He may have the thing which gets rid of Burn, but it's not like certain to get rid of it every turn, and I don't know, it just kind of works out in this way because I go for the Scald. I think this actually just takes him out from this turn, which I didn't really expect, but that's the amount of damage that it did. He decided to DD there, which kind of doesn't work out, as brings in the Tentacruel, and now it's just wait until I burn the Tentacruel and then let it die, and I actually burn it with the first Scald I try on it. Rain Dish, Black Sludge, so much extra shit. I have leftovers, he has burn, everything's going down crazy. Looks like this is going to be a situation that he cannot really get himself out of, added to the fact that I believe Terrakion is still in my back pocket, who can easily come in, and I don't want to switch it in on any move, so I decide to leave Vaporeon just until he potentially kills me, but of course that would take far too long, and so instead of that, he decides to run, which just makes life easier for the both of us. But hey, a match with definite momentum shifts. Me kind of wreck and train with Terrakion until Parasong stopped me in my tracks, and then Confusion come in to bite him in the ass on the DDSD Haxorus, which, God, the scary factor that holds is, I don't even want to go there, so I won't go there. Instead, I shall tell you that you can go follow me on Twitter and the Facebooks. You can go like me there. You can find out all the stupid shit I do during the week and find out what things are going down. You can also like this video if you feel that it is an appropriate thing to do, but only if you feel it is appropriate. Otherwise, I will see you guys next time with another battle, and I hope you have a nice day. Goodbye.